Following the release of the New York Times documentary Framing Britney Spears, fans are taking a more critical look at the media's treatment of their favorite stars. Many of the uncomfortable clips that are currently resurfacing are moments from The Late Show with David Letterman, and honestly, they are not pretty. I'm Mackenzie, and subscribe if you're new here. Following the Britney Spears documentary, David Letterman's 2013 interview with Lindsay Lohan started going viral. The interview was for Lohan to promote her new movie, but the conversation almost entirely centered around rehab and her addiction problems. Through the interview, Lohan was trying to change the topic of the conversation, while Letterman kept going in further, and it got so bad that Lohan flat out said, quote, "We didn't discuss this in the pre-interview," and by the end of the interview, she was tearing up. Only a week after that horrible interview went viral, a very creepy interview Letterman had with Jennifer Aniston started going viral as well. The Jennifer Aniston interview was from 1998, and Aniston was sharing a story of how some fans found her in the steam room of her gym and tried to take a picture with her. During the interview, Letterman was asking a lot of questions about that incident in particular, asking if the women were naked and how many women were in the steam room. But eventually the conversation changed topics and they started talking about how Aniston does not like flying. But in the middle of that conversation, Letterman all of a sudden says, quote, "Forgive me if this is rude, I just want to try one thing." Then he goes behind Aniston, where she can't see what's happening. He then takes a strand of her hair that was hanging in front of her face and puts it in his mouth. I have no idea why a person would ever do this and think that it's fine. And don't even get me started on the fact that he felt it was perfectly normal to do on camera too. When Aniston realized what was happening, she started squealing until he stopped. And then he gave her a napkin to dry her hair, because that just makes it all better. Ugh. Then he said, quote, "I'm sorry, something to do with the steam room," which made the entire thing just infinitely more creepy. Aniston then said that she was traumatized and, quote, "That was something that I'll never forget. I do not blame her whatsoever." Honestly, even covering the story made my skin kinda crawl, like very gross. And the worst part about all this is that these incidents are not the only ones. And he's also getting called out for inappropriate behavior towards other stars like Janet Jackson, Jessica Alba, and Madonna. Guys, let me know your thoughts on this one below. Do you happen to remember watching any of these interviews and thinking that they were strange? Or do you think people calling him out might be overreacting because many of these interviews were decades ago? Let me know below. But before I go, I'm going to shout out some comments from my video on influencers that warned us about David Dobrik. Bubbles Awesome said, "You know, him switching friends like every week should have been a big red flag." I guess that is true. He does have the same core group of friends. I think it's just kind of like the outer people switch up, but that is an interesting thing to know. The Welfarian said, "Gabby Hanna's hot trash herself. Can't wait for her candle to fizzle out." Honestly, I used to be a fan of Gabby, but yeah, just over time her content just wasn't, I guess, what it used to be. I honestly think that she kind of has fizzled out. I'm not even trying to be mean, but I think she's definitely gotten like way less relevant, and I haven't heard anything about Gabby Hanna in months until she started tweeting about allegedly David Dobrik. Then Funbug said, "Mackenzie, please, if you see my comment, I'd like to know where you got your cute long sleeve. Thanks in advance." So that one was thrifted from Value Village. I like to thrift a lot when I can to get kind of unique pieces, but in that one actually the zipper's broken. If you look back at that one and notice, that's how I knew it was thrifted. Alright guys, that's all for the video today. Thank you so much for sticking around if you made it all the way here. If you liked the video and want to see some more, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel below. I've been your host, Mackenzie Smith. Make sure to check us out on social media, and I'll see you all in the next one.